Welcome to Transforming the Toddler Years, a Core 4 parenting podcast blending soul and science-based strategies to empower pandemic moms like you, raising kindergarten-ready kids. I'm Cara Tyrrell, your host, a lifetime lover of littles, girl mom, early childhood educator, and conscious parenting coach who truly believes that how we connect and collaborate with our kids in the first 5 years is how we raise world-ready kids who will change this world. Welcome back to the Holidays mini-series here on the Transforming the Toddler Years podcast. Today, we're tackling a really important concept, the idea of when you give, you receive, teaching the gratitude principle to our little people. But before we dive in, I want to know, were you there yesterday for the kickoff call for our 12 Days of Christmas Toddlers Tips Challenge? It is not too late to join us. We just got started in our private Facebook community, our little virtual village. It was so much fun yesterday to kick off this challenge. I didn't sing to you quite yet, but starting today, I'll be dropping all of the goodness, one small video a day, set to the tune of the first day of Christmas, the second day of Christmas, and a toddler tip challenge to go along with it that you can use today. Make more magic in your holiday and avoid those meltdowns. All right, so that link is in the show notes. Hop on into the village, get caught up from yesterday, and let's do this. All right, today we're talking about gratitude. It is a big concept. It's an abstract concept. And your little person's brain is starting to delve into abstractness, but quite honestly, toddlers, preschoolers, I say this in the most loving, educated, science-based way possible, are tiny little egotistical creatures, right? They just are. They are all me, me, me. I want the biggest plate. I want the cup that's the color I love the most. I want to be first in line, right? This is who they are. And it is who they're supposed to be right now because of their age and their current developmental processes and how much they're making sense of the world around them by the interactions that follow after they put out into the world, I must have the largest cookie. So this is really about us knowing this about them, knowing that this is where they are at, meeting them there and modeling this social principle for them. Because here's a distinction that I think really matters about the holidays and gratitude. We tell our little people when they're given a gift and they rip it open and they see what's inside and then they put it next to them. What do you say? Say thank you. Say thank you. So they do. And we think that they're saying it because we're teaching them how to be grateful for the gift. But that's actually not what's happening. They're saying it because you prompted them to say it. They're learning that that is the appropriate verbal response when you receive something. But the inner dialogue, the inner experience of true gratitude, no, that's not happening. And so there's this disconnect, and we really want to lean into helping them figure out how to tap into their earliest understanding of when you give, you receive. Now, let's be real. As adults, we are still exploring the beauty of this universal law that whatever we put out into the world from a place of true intention and joy, when we expect nothing back, is when we get this most beautiful gift, even if it's not coming from what we put in. I mean, see how big and abstract and hard this is to wrap our heads around? So bringing it down to your little person's ability is going to be super important, because we want to raise really thankful, really grateful, really gracious kids who feel like they want to give of themselves and understand that that doesn't mean it's all about stuff. Sometimes we give of our love and time and attention by an extra long hug. Sometimes we give of our spirit by knowing that somebody just needs us to create space for them. You and I give in so many ways that does not involve a physical object or dollars. That is what we want to teach our little people. So this is a season, right? We talk about this being the season of fill in the blank. Well, I believe that this is a season of giving, not one day of receiving. But your children, the anticipation that leads up to, if you celebrate Christmas, or actually if you celebrate other holidays, there's multiple days of receiving, right? Your children have this anticipation of the receiving, and they're not as tagged into the seasonal experience of giving. So there's a few things that you can do with this new perspective. Point it out everywhere you go during this holiday season. Before, during, and after those important actual holidays, talk about it. Give your kids opportunities to be a giver, to give of a smile. That person looks a little upset today. I noticed your friend at preschool was struggling. Would you like to go give them a quick smile and a hug before we leave? Wow, you gave of your heart today. That was so special. While you're out and about at malls or stores, if there's an opportunity to give, allow your child to be the one to do it. The Salvation Army ringing the bell, you've got a quarter in your pocket, let your child put the quarter in the jar. If you have the means and you're out shopping and you're able to pick up a new toy and let your child put it in the Toys for Tots bin, these are acts of giving. If you don't have those means, you can take a bunch of things from your house that are still good, still usable. There's still life and fun and joy in them. And they don't have to be your child's toys. Just whatever you're ready to get rid of. Bring your toddler, bring your preschooler with you when you go to donate them to the local thrift store. Give, model it, talk about it, process it. Allow your child the opportunity to grow into a new understanding of it. So now let's talk about the gifting, right? Because that is really what this whole giving concept to your child understands right now is all about. In my household, when the girls were little, we did a lot of talking about the why of giving and the why of receiving. A gift wasn't just unwrapped on Christmas morning, looked at, put aside, and we moved on. That is not how I designed it. There was an interaction afterwards. And the thank you was organic, because the interaction sounded like this. Me telling them why I chose or made that gift for them. I made you these leg warmers. I was a big crocheter because you told me how excited you were when you saw your friend at dance class with rainbow leg warmers. It brought me such joy to spend my nights after you went to bed crocheting these, knowing that you were really going to like wearing them and that you would now have something that your friend did too. And then it was their turn. Granted, at this point, they were a little bit older, right? They had a lot more language and a lot more ability to think abstractly, but I'd say 6, 7 years old. They weren't that old. And then it was their turn. I'm so grateful that you gave me these. I'm so grateful that you made these for me because, and they had to finish the sentence. This wraps up, pun intended, I love a good pun, the gift giving and the receiving experience. I feel like we leave it hanging. It's just not finite enough. Because what is the true joy of giving? It's knowing and seeing and feeling the joy of the recipient. And so when you give from that place and they can receive from that place, it's a true exchange of joy. Without a ton of expectation, with all the anticipation, without the letdown. When you give from a place of, I have to, this is just something we have to do, and they receive from that place, it doesn't feel as good. I hope this is really landing in your heart and you're starting to think about ways that you can include your little people this year in the thinking about the giving. Because another thing we do with our littles is if there's other people to give to, grandmas, grandpas, aunts, uncles, older brothers, older sisters, we just go get the stuff, wrap it up, and slap a label on it. To grandma from little. And they had nothing to do with it. But that is not the point. That just echoes the hollowness of the give. Then on the other side, and here's actually where it's probably most confusing for them, grandma opens it, gushes. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. Thank you, honey. You're the best. Oh, the gifts from you mean so much to me. And your little person's like, I didn't give what? Okay. And then you say you're welcome. And they do. Is this starting to kind of rattle around, make some sense? You marinating inside of it a little bit? This social modeling is so important. Raising grateful, gracious kids who find the joy in giving and the joy in receiving. I have an article that I wrote a couple years ago called The Cognitive Empath's Guide to Gift Giving. I'm going to put the link to it in the show notes. Have a read if you like. It really is a peek into my experience, and perhaps that'll be interesting to you. Maybe you will resonate. But as we continue to navigate through these holidays together, if you are struggling and this is starting to really hit you and you're like, oh, I want to ask her some specific questions about my child and this season, then the very best thing that you can do is hop into our 12 Days of Christmas Toddler Tips Challenge. And here's why. Throughout the challenge, I will be going live in the group, and I'll be dropping the Zoom link for people who want to join me inside the emails. But you have to register for the challenge to be on that email list. So register today. Come on in. Watch for the next Zoom link. Come hang out with me. Tell me what's going on with you. Tell me what's going on with your child. And I will be right there to support you. Until our next episode, stay mindful and proactive as we transform the toddler years.